Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Foundational Fathers podcast, where, faith is important. Duct tape fixes most things. What dad jokes fix a lot of things, but faith fixes everything. And today we're talking about the option of where faith, family, and fatherhood help you create a powerful story, a story that matters, that helps you use your God story to change someone else's life.
Absolutely, Nick. Your story matters, and sometimes it's the very key to unlocking someone else's freedom.
Yes, and joining us today is a man who lives the truth out loud, the host of Living Life Mindset, found on Faith Points Radio, Tim Blake. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure, gentlemen.
Yeah. And so because we want to treat you just as well as we treat every other guest on the Foundational Fathers podcast, it's time for our world famous, at least studio famous guest roast called The Mindset Medic.
All right, Tim, you've been dropping wisdom like you charge by the hour, but now it's time for your therapeutic intervention.
Yes, brother. Welcome to the Foundational Fathers guest roast, where laughter is the best medicine, and you're about to get a full dose of it.
Dr. Tim Blake, the man with 30 years of experience studying people's lives. So you basically raised half of us emotionally without even knowing it.
Yes. And Tim, you've had so many real life conversations with real families that you probably have more case studies than a Google review.
Yeah, I heard he listens to so many life stories that when someone says, "You're not going to believe this," Tim's like, "Brother, try me."
Yeah. And this man out there has helped more people move forward with clarity than a windshield wiper in a rainstorm.
Yeah, and his coaching sessions are so good. Folks walk out saying, "I came in confused. I left with a 5-point life plan and a snack."
Yeah. Tim has sat down with so many real struggles that even his office chair qualifies with for veteran benefits.
Wow, Nick. And Veterans Day was not too far.
I know.
Man. All right. He hosts Living Life Mindset on Faith Points Radio, the only show where you get motivated, convicted, and emotionally stabilized, all before the next traffic update.
Yeah, and rumor has it that Tim's so good at helping people process their issues, even his Wi-Fi has healthier attachment styles.
But for real, Tim, you're the guy people run to when life gets loud. Thank you for decades of compassion, wisdom, and Christ-centered clarity.
And there you have it, folks. The world famous guest roast of Tim Blake.
Yeah.
Oh, so I hope we did you proud there, Tim.
Yeah, amusing.
Oh,
alrighty.
That Wi-Fi line. Yeah, I stole that from someone else, so it's not.
You stole
really
it, or AI generated it for you.
Yeah, that's possibly true. Yeah. But
we live in that era.
My son-in-law actually works for an AI generation department for a major search. What do you call it?
Engine
provider. Yeah,
search engine.
So, anyway, let's get started then, Tim.
Yeah.
Let's just move into the Living Life Mindset, found on Faith Points Radio again. In that, it's really been growing. So, what has inspired you to start that show?
Well, actually, Andy Lewis approached me from Faith Points and talked about TV at first, but I wasn't quite up to snuff on the TV side yet, according to the guy who looks at the videos. So he said, but you can still do radio. And so I already been playing around just speaking and improving my speaking. So it's like, yeah, absolutely. And so then we started doing that. And it's on the The Faith Points radio side is the fpr.online/links, and that program airs on Wednesdays, Thursdays at 1 Eastern, and Sundays at 9, a half hour or 29 minutes of uplifting encouragement that kind of fits what you said. It even if you've heard it or not. I don't know if you guys have.
Of course, we do everything on this show
Yeah.
with great research.
Yes, at least we try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You reached out to me out of nowhere, so it's entirely possible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, Andy actually had said, "Hey, Tim would be a great guy to have on the show," because he apparently listens to your radio show a lot. So that's good because he's trying to get you more involved in their network, and so
yes.
I definitely would like to thank the Faith Points TV for getting
connecting.
this network that they've connected us with because we've had a lot of great guests come on here, and just kind of share with us their story and like and then what their mission is, right? So when did you personally realize that your story had power and that you could use it to change lives?
In terms of realizing my story had power, it's really realizing the power of story. Ultimately, I've connected with stories all my life. I grew up even having books read while we were going to bed sleeping. So my soul connects to stories in general. I'm a reader. I do all that stuff. But as I pursued a career in mental health, it's definitely being aware that listening to people's stories and drawing it out is important, as well as being able to share the pieces and the elements of my life that helps to illustrate what's happening. Now, unfortunately, I'm a man that's a lot in my head. And so actually a couple years ago, on an online bit, just in terms of refining myself, involved in wanting to discuss things with folks a little farther along on spiritual direction than I am. And I was trying to lead a book discussion. It was kind of flat and all intellectual, and these folks weren't having it. And the person that led the forum sat me down and said, "Hey, you gotta really put in the story. You really gotta catch the heart before you actually put in the elements of what you want to teach." And I've taken that to heart from there and use it and try and grow and refine that whole concept to what I'm doing, to what's to come. All of that. The story is going to play a role to generate change.
Yeah. So what can you tell us about your story, though?
Right.
That really kind of brought you to this point.
Right. So my story, and just to give highlights. So actually, I did grow up in a Christian home, actually dedicated to God at birth, before I even knew. So my story is not one about conversion to Christianity or such, where people have that big story. Although I can remember as a kid listening at night to the radio station here, KTIS, and the program, highly dramatic program known as Unshackled, still on the air, by the way. But they give all these grand dramatic stories, melodramatic to the end. Remember as a kid, I am going to have a story like that. I'm kind of boring. Well, my family life wasn't boring ultimately, because when I was probably at 10, 11, I don't even know exact age it was. My mother was hospitalized. What they said at the time was bipolar disorder, and she certainly had a manic stage where she got a little elevated. And she didn't even know the reality until into my adulthood. But she was taking lithium. Her moods were up and down and volatile. Turns out complex trauma. Her oldest brother, who died before I was born, abused her in every sort of way. And that came out after her mom died in the late 80s, mid 80s, and she started having flashbacks and the like. And she'd really be considered overall borderline personality disordered and PTSD of that. So there's that trauma piece and that injury piece. Also, I'm born in June. So as such, in starting school, I was behind the curve. We didn't hold me back. I was certainly adept enough to understand and learn to start, but socially immature, bullied, picked on from kindergarten until the harassment stopped. Really, probably about 11th grade when folks just started caring about other things than harassing those that are different. And so, I was at a private Christian school and a public school. It didn't matter. I got picked on, bullied in a number of ways. So those are the injuries that occurred in my life. The positive is unstable as my family background growing up, in particular the volatility with mom. She did always generate and teach growth. And she always had us trying new hobbies, trying new things on that and things. And she also recognized that when I walked a drunk relative home at maybe the age 13, 14, I don't even know the age, and got back, and mom said, what you really do well is listen. You were really great with her. You know what you should consider? You should consider going into psychology. So that's the mother's input. Dad was around, and my dad, unfortunately, is in his own world, and the others are visiting. Often critical. He had an impact and positivity and encouraged things, and actually, he pointed me to some things in college, like Watchman Nee, that had profound spiritual impact. So, in terms of my story, there's these impact growth moments, from mom, from dad, as unique and special as they are, that impacted me, and the things I learned and the things that I developed, I had to work on myself. Stuff with emotions. I was come senior year of high school. My school yearbook person decided, hey, let's create a special category for Tim. This special category that we're going to have, everybody's going to vote this because they'll know exactly who we're talking about, is most unaffected. That's how shut down I was and didn't let anything get to me because, surviving harassment and instability and those kinds of things. So I was emotionally repressed as you get.
Mm-hmm.
And even the process of my mom's stuff, whatever, I began to learn and grow about emotions before I even stepped foot into pursuing a master's degree. And then things all came to a head on my injuries and everything in my master's program. My supervisor, really looked at all my weaknesses and broke me down so that I can put together to help the folks. So those are pieces of the story. There's certainly a whole lot of other elements in terms of that, but that just gives you an idea of the flow of what's at the heart of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, at what point in your life, I guess, did you turn that all the negativity, all the heartache, all the struggle in your life into power and into a testimony of what God can do in somebody's life?
So every point it grows. Every aspect you've got it elements that you're growing and refining. So, each phase of understanding moves me into the next. And even as I interact with people in terms of your therapy, crisis work, all that kind of stuff, it's the openness to bringing who I am and taking it in. So there was a big healing journey in the mid 90s in terms of God loosening some of my injuries and moving through at a time where I processed it. But I'm at this point where I'm continuing, okay, I've reached this journey. What's the next one? And reach this, what's the next one? As I'm pouring into the lives of the people that God brings to me and around me to continue to grow and pursue. So is there one, defining instance? Not necessarily, but there are instances. There's instances of leading a men's Bible study, and being honest with my injuries in terms of connecting, and as a single man at that point, connecting with women because it's phobic.
Mm-hmm.
On that, and God moved actually by, I'm not visual. I can't get a visual image in my head if you paid me. My God didn't create me that way. But in this Bible study, suddenly, in terms of bringing my requests to God, God uses my dear friend who's no longer with us, but he started giving him prophetic images, of things to understand and visuals that generated and moved me, of course. And he continued to do this through the course of the healing journey over 3-4 years, until I got to the point where I was able to really pursue a relationship romantically, and ultimately met my wife and the like. And so there are, in my timeline, in my map, of my story, in my journey, there's all these points that exist of the various elements of the grand story in terms of walking it through, that leads me up to where I am now, which is far different than I was 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So why, in like the story part, like both of us have gone through a program called Regeneration. It is like a 12-step program, but it's more focused on like hurts, habits, and hangups than drug and alcohol abuse, which is part of that. But
yeah, it's in there.
yeah, it is in there. But I mean, there's a lot more than drug and alcohol abuse.
Yeah.
Because a lot of that comes from the other hurts, habits, and hangups that we dealt with. And so why do you think so many people hesitate when they have an encounter with God, to share what that encounter with God was to them?
Right. See, we have a tendency to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
And so putting things out there, it makes us vulnerable, and particularly as men. We got to close down. We want to look like we have it together. We got to do what we can to protect, to provide, and everything else that comes with being a man and a father, in terms of that. So we got to look functional, and particularly men. So we're not going to break down. Yeah, that happened way back when I was a kid, and that guy diddled me, and I certainly ain't going to talk about that. This stuff, because it's personal, but yet we want to avoid pain, and we want to look good. And so then we, in turn, we deny, we minimize, we mask, and we hide, and do what we can to show the strength, but not actually put out there what the story is. And it's not just men either. People generally don't want to draw attention to themselves. Off a comment, and you got a group, and you're having a group discussion. All right, who wants to say something? Everybody's looking at everybody else, unless you got the highly extroverted, center of attention individual there who's going to dominate things anyways, and we'll keep drawing attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the dog in the background likes to draw attention.
Yes. She saw something outside and said, "Hi, I'm here."
I was gonna say, we go to a men's conference, and it's like, all right, this is what we were just talking about on stage, guys. Let's open up to each other, and then everyone's just like,
what? What do we have to open up about?
Like,
we're men.
Yes. so yeah, there's this this facade that people put on, like, right, like, I want to show you who I am, but without showing you who I really am, right?
Right.
I when you talk about being a man, and I look to 1 Corinthians 13:11, and now maybe I'm taking it out of context, but it says, when I was a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child, I spoke like a child. I might have that a little mixed up, but when I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me, and I use that with my boys, and because like, there's a difference between a man of this world and a man of God, and so a man of God has to look different, right? Like, we're supposed to be set apart, and so I like to say that obviously Christ sets that definition of what a man of God looks like, and he shares stories, right? And and how he can relate to people. I mean, obviously he's God; he can relate to them because he feels empathy and sympathy,
for sure.
But in order for us to be in a relationship, to him, is like, I gotta open up with you and say, hey, these are some of the things that I went on in my life, so that way, one, it builds this trust, it builds this bond and this connection, and it's not necessarily like trauma bonding, but like hey, I can relate. But so that's just one verse I use, like I said, to kind of helps ground me to the truth, and that's Romans.
First Corinthians.
Romans
13.
Yeah. Sorry, I had Romans 12 too, but that's a different one. That's
That's being transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's
yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, I need to renew my mind.
Yeah. Apparently,
But
you're getting
we're
old, man.
all in process of being refined. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is one verse that keeps you grounded in that truth?
the one verse, really my life verse, that one of the first verses I memorized before anything else, other than John 3:16, is Matthew 5:16. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. So, and that even collects to or corresponds to that concept of story. If you're keeping everything to yourself, you're hiding your light, you ain't going to draw anybody, and you're not going to have this mutual exchange that generates growth. You're going to just be off in the darkness. So now darkness, by the way, as it's used, refers to what's hidden and what is not seen, was pulled back. All these things we keep to ourselves. And you bring things into the light. You tell the stories, even if it's just a little quip, a joke, the long, extended, unabridged version, whatever it may be. It's going to have a chance to have an impact, and you never know where that comes. And an impact in yourself as you share pain points, and you go, "Oh, I let somebody in. That felt actually good."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a powerful thing. You know, husbands and fathers need to lead their families with their testimony, and not just talk about it, but actually live it out. One of the things that I have found is that when it comes to recovery, and regenerating your life and renewing your mind, is that you need to have this mindset that says, God's love is for me. It's real. It's powerful. And one of the ways that I do that daily is Romans 8:38 and 39. And it says that this I believe, that neither death nor life, nor angels, nor demons, nor, things to come, things that have been there, or any other power, either high or low, or anything else can separate me from the love of God.
Right.
And, like if we can learn that God's love is there no matter if we're in our weakness or we're in our low point, that God's love keeps us connected, and his strength will get us through whatever situation, whatever struggle that we're going through. And, that can bring a lot of power to your testimony. That can really strengthen your voice, and your timidness can disappear almost when it comes to that, because it's not really about you. It's about what God did through you. And so, because of what God did through you is such an incredible feat and an amazing task in its own. There's nothing to be ashamed of in regards to that.
Right. Right. And the reality is, you've got nothing that separates us, but we oftentimes get pulled into, whatever the other powers are, and some of them are obvious and well hidden, oftentimes. And the well hidden oftentimes is the sexual immorality elements, the pornography, the masturbation, all of those things that are even more readily available today. Or the drugs, the alcohol, work, anything that you turn to for pleasure outside of, really connecting to the love of God. The broken cisterns that you're turning to that don't satisfy, but we turn to and get stuck in, and then certainly ain't going to talk about it, especially on the sexual side. And it's like, I ain't going there. We'll talk about sports. Talk about how hard I'm having at work. Talking about how much the wife got on my nerves, and the kids, they just won't stop. You're talking about what's real, or you're just talking about what's okay to talk about?
But a lot of those things that we talk about, are willing to talk about, are why we do the things that we don't want to talk about.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I think though, being honest, like some people are afraid to talk about those certain topics, but in those topics that you were just talking about, like our sins, is where we actually find the most growth.
Mm-hmm.
Because those are taboo to talk about because society has said, hey, these are taboo to talk about. But but Christ is saying, hey, be open and honest with those around you. You know, do this, share something, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, like in my men's group, you know, there's nothing that's off the table, right? Like you could bring anything you have and lay it down in front of us, and we will hear you out, and we will point you to Christ in it, you know. Because yeah, the real life happens every day, real life. So I got just a question, and then what's one practical thing that someone can do this week to share their story with confidence?
Right. Well, the one thing to do, first of all, you gotta know it to own it.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be able to, understand what it is that's you. You've got to be able to know you. You can't tell a
Mm-hmm.
story if you ain't know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
But so you got to know, and then and you know yourself. Take a look at well, what is it that might get in the way of me being open and talking about it, and why. Take that reflective element to start with recognizing what's going on, and then receive from God what it is that He would have of you to be able to
Mm-hmm.
empower you to be able to express.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the to add to that is the steps that lead up to that, is the admit that you're powerless, that you believe that Jesus is the only thing that can fix what's going on in our life. And then we have to learn to do what I think is the biggest problem and the hardest step to do in any of the 12 steps that are out there for recovery programs. And that's trust. Trust in God, trust in the process.
Yeah.
Um, because once you develop that trust, it's so easy to confess where our wrongdoings are and what they are, and be able to peel that back. But without that trust, it's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
And you get trust by receiving what God has to offer, and recognizing it, and surrendering, rather than trying to run your own show, which is what we try and do. I got this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come to you, God, when things do mess up. I don't got this anymore. Oh, but okay, I got it for now. Oh wait,
Yeah.
I don't. Rather than, okay, God, help me in these moments, these small things. Let me receive what you have to give me and move me through, bring me to the point where I can't. And God, you want me? It feels like you want me to tell a story. I can't. I talked about in the men's group in terms of sharing my struggles. I was actually the last one to go within the Bible study, and the panic and the anxiety, and I was grabbing a pillow at the point in time because it was not easy. I know I needed to do it. I know I needed to talk about it to let what God do what God was going to do, even though I'm the one facilitating the whole thing.
Yeah.
But then God moves. But yeah, it's that surrender and trust. God, are you good enough no matter what the pain is? And I'm putting it out there. It's going to be important to go through and to let other people in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely have to say that, like, he is definitely with us in our pain, and you know, because our pain here is only temporary anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I mean, sometimes it may be a physical pain, and sometimes it may just be an emotional pain,
Yeah.
you know. But either way, it's still only temporary.
Yeah.
Um,
And for those that are listening today, who think that your story is like irrelevant, you know, um, how would you respond to somebody who thinks their story doesn't matter?
Yeah. That gets me to what I talked about in on Shack. Yeah, as a kid, I ain't got no big story. I knew Christ all along, but as it turns out, there's lots of injury, lots of drama in my life and my story. Things happened as it unfolded, as it went on, and so It's recognizing that God made you unique and special, and He's got things He's given you to give, and that includes who you are, your story. If I want to learn something about a particular gifting that I haven't got, I'm going to need to hear about the story of somebody living it out to understand and see then how my gifts mesh with their gifts so that we can unite together to move towards whatever God has put towards us. Often, though, we go, I got it. I understand it. No, what you're coming from that perspective, you ain't gonna know what a clue you're talking about. That ain't how it works.
Yeah.
Even if you got the same giftings, because we're all different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think that a lot of times we can think that God only gives us this special gift. But a lot of times we were talking about this at church this week, and is that sometimes, the gifts that God gives us is for that moment, for that time period, for that encounter with that person that needs to have that particular gift. And so we can get caught up in the one gift that God has given us and not realize that that gift was for a short time, but there's other gifts that He's willing to give us.
Yeah.
But we have to be open and ready to receive them. Being able to lift someone up in a way that maybe we're not comfortable with, when God needs us to. That's important.
Yeah. I just thinking of that, what you just said, like our gift that He's given us right now, like, right, it might not be the gift we have tomorrow, right?
Right.
And I just thinking about like Moses, right? He had this gift of leading, but he wasn't allowed to lead them into the promised land, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, you can go as far as this, you can look over and see it, but you're not going to be able to go.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
In part because he lost his S. Yeah, and fully because he lost his S. He got tired of everybody and didn't follow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The consequences.
Yeah.
Well, you know why Moses was really tired of everything?
Yeah.
It's because those stone tablets were so heavy.
So heavy, yeah.
And he dropped a couple. That's why there was only 10 commandments instead of the 20 he was supposed to bring down.
Yeah.
He dropped them, and that was what was left. But
yeah, he was actually the first one to download anything to the cloud.
Yeah. Yeah. Mathematicians.
True. Yeah. First download.
He was also the first physician, or the first patient of the great physician, actually, because he went up to the mountain and said, hey, I'm really feeling ill today. And God said, here, take these 2 tablets.
Yeah.
Call me in the morning.
Yeah.
Take these 2.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I dropped them. I need them again.
Yep.
I need 2 more. Hey, don't kill everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
Oh, there was a reason he was a pillar of fire by night and a cloud of smoke by day.
Yeah.
I can't believe I got that right without having to think about it.
I was surprised too.
Yeah. Out there, guys, our episode today with Tim wouldn't be possible if we didn't have some great backing in our sponsors.
Yeah.
And so this time I would like to just take a moment before we move on just to kind of like thank those sponsors. And our first sponsor is a pretty decent human being, and he even named his company Pretty Good Wood Turning, where craftsmanship meets calling. And I would say, I don't know, I still think his sister site should be Just Okay Wood Turning.
Just okay,
yeah.
We're also brought to you by Sasquatch Gun Oil, made for men to protect, provide, and pray. Use code FFP316 on your next order.
Yes. And of course, our mornings run on coffee, brought to you by Sabbath Coffee Roasters, locally roasted, spiritually grounded, and brewed to bring peace before the day's chaos begins.
And you too can support this channel by supporting these kingdom businesses. Links are in the description below.
As well as, of course, we've been mentioning both Tim and our shows are found on Faith Points TV, where they're building the kingdom one show at a time, day in and day out, and I'm super thankful for their support and their backing behind our show, and I'm sure Tim would agree with that on his end. So
absolutely.
Yes. And no show of ours would ever be complete. I know you guys probably thought we forgot about it because we're old, but it's time for the favorite segment of the hour. Well, at least it's favorite to us. I don't know if you guys enjoy it, but Tim, it's time for the sacred rite of passage, the dad joke gauntlet. 10 jokes, or maybe give or take a few more or less.
Yep.
But there's no groans allowed. So hopefully it's just laughs and no groans for everyone else out there.
So brace yourself. This is where faith meets foolishness.
And I mean foolishness. We need to repent after we say these.
Yes.
But first off, why did Noah have to punish the chickens on the ark?
Why is that?
Because they were using foul language.
Yeah. Oh, man. Why did Jonah delete his social media?
I don't know why.
He didn't want to get swallowed by followers. Yeah.
Why did the disciples drive a Honda?
Everyone should know this one because they were all in one accord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what's a missionary's favorite car, by the way?
A convertible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're always going top down in prayer.
Yeah. Why did Moses break the tablets? We were just talking about
I was just talking about this.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't handle the download speed.
Couldn't handle the download speed.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
What kind of lights did Noah use on the ark?
Do you know this, Tim?
No, I don't know that one.
Oh, it's floodlights.
Floodlights.
Ah.
Floodlights. Yeah.
Why did Samson never lose an argument?
I don't know.
Because he always had the last strand. Yeah.
True that. Yep.
Yeah.
Marcus, how does Moses make his coffee?
He brews it.
Yep.
Yeah. What's a Christian's favorite exercise?
Hopefully it doesn't involve bending over.
Yeah, it's CrossFit.
Oh,
yeah.
Getting too old for that.
Yeah.
And, finally, why did the preacher, or let's make this even better, why did Tim bring a ladder to church?
Why is that, Nick?
Because he thought the sermon was going to be on another level.
Yeah.
That one still hits every time.
Yeah.
And we didn't even have to skip over the jump rope joke.
No.
Yeah.
No, we didn't.
Yeah. No. Sometimes it hits people in the face, so I'm glad we didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like those jokes, they hit every time.
Yeah. Yeah. And if at least one dad laughed out there, our work here is done, Nick.
Yeah. The yard work is done.
Well,
that's for sure.
We're coming into the season where there's no more yard work.
What are you talking about? It still snows.
Well, that's not yard work now. It's
okay. It's work. Is it called driveway work?
It's called. I got to get out of this house. My kids are in here and they're driving me crazy. I got to go.
Actually, it sounds like it's really going to be called wet work.
Yeah, wet work. Yeah,
there you go.
Some cold work.
That's right. Oh, that's okay. I got some cold.
Yeah,
I got some cold patch for you.
Yeah.
Put one on. Call me in the morning.
Yeah. Okay.
But Tim, before we close, what is one thing that you would like to tell the listeners out there who've been scared to share their story?
Right. So, you're scared? Ask God for courage. And take a look at the moment. Get through it. You may feel the anxiety, you may feel panic, but then when you get to the point of stepping through the threshold and speaking forth, you're going to own it, and you're going to speak it, and you're going to be able to roar forth what it is that God has for you, and you'll be able to move into what God has for you and ride the winds of his current so that you may soar into what he is going to provide for your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. And folks out there, we didn't even have to sit on a couch to have an encounter with Tim today.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's
it's like usually hard chairs, especially with the men I work with. It's they're old chairs. By that, there's not top of the line anything there, but
usually the old chairs though, they have a tendency to snap on me, so I end up like having to fight my way out of them.
Well,
So-
let's say even if it's a chair that he put together, a new one.
Yeah, they fall apart. They don't just snap on me.
Right, yeah.
But that's
Yeah,
great.
we've had
That's a
chair
great word,
snap.
man.
They're that old.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
you know, but transparency is transformation.
Yeah.
And guys, speaking of transformation and transparency, we're coming up on the new year. It's not that far away, like a month and a half.
Yeah.
We got till it's new year, and it's also a new season. Season 4 is up on us, and we have some great things in store for you. And you know, one of those great things that we have in store for you is book number 2 of the series that I started with, The River Between Us, that will be out in December, will be coming on the available market in the middle of the first section of our season 4. So
please forgive him, he's confused.
Yeah, and it's okay because Marcus has to do something with where the river ends and grace begins. So look for that second part of the trilogy of Marcus's life.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see where my life goes.
Yeah, so I had all these notes from Marcus, you know, over the last few years, and I was like, I need to put it in a book and let's write about it. So that's what The River Begins is all about, and you can find all that on Amazon starting December 1st. But right now, the book Unmuted is available on Amazon or anywhere you can buy literature, digital or in paperback copy. So, and if you would like paperback copies of any of those, they are used, those funds are used to support this show and our mission. So you can reach out to us in the comment section and we'll be glad to get you a signed copy of that book. And I'll make sure the star of the book signs it as well.
All right.
Yeah. So
Nick Sash.
Yeah. No, I'm not in the book at all.
I know.
But again, Tim, thank you for bringing the encouragement, the truth, through more than just radio fire today. But I know that they can find your radio show on Faith Points TV. Do you mind just telling everybody what that show name is and a little bit about where they can find all that?
Right. So it's on the radio side, not the TV side as of yet. God will bring that together when that comes. But the radio is at, for that, it's the WFPR.online/links. And so you go to that little thing and you get this little button you can push. And if it's not that, they got music and worship or whatever that pops on there. But on Wednesdays or Thursdays at 1 Eastern or Sundays at 9 Eastern, you pop that little button and you'll hear me talking about life mindset, one thing or another for 29 minutes to really help you understand something as well as work you through a skill to help you advance your life. So I hope you join me. And certainly I'm looking for long-term because, those are one and done. If you don't catch it those days right now, it's hidden in the vault and the resource, but I am working on, getting it together so that people can access anytime outside of those special, broadcast times that, you miss them. So that's, things I'm working on, as well as many things I'm working on at, lifemindset.life, my website. Where I've got coaching and memberships and other things that are rolling out that people can grow. And for that, you want, what's this you're talking about? Life mindset. What is that? I've never heard those words put together before. You're right, you haven't. I put them together. But to get some of the basics, primer.lifemindset.life, and you'll get the about a free 40-page book that goes over the basics of what I compiled with God's help in terms of life mindset, and get you a starting point. And things are just begun on that front, and we'll see where that story unfolds. There's much to come, and we'll see how God plays it out.
Great. Yeah. And speaking of how your story unfolds and the encounter with God and what he wants to do in your life, maybe finding your purpose is part of why you're reaching out and watching our podcasts on a weekly basis, which we appreciate you for. But we want to give you guys the opportunity that if you're listening right now and you haven't had that relationship with Christ started yet today, or that maybe this life mindset that Tim was just talking about is something that you want to really start to focus on with God's help, and you just haven't had the ability or the time to sit down and ask God for his favor in your life and his change to start yet, I want to give you that opportunity today. So your story matters. So hear me. God does not waste anything. So any part of your life that you are going through, I trust you that you'll listen to what Tim says, to what we're saying on here, that no part of your life is by chance, that there is meaning and purpose behind what you're going through, and God will point you to him in everything. In my life and in Marcus's life, I know that has been our story, and I'm sure that's been a part of Tim's life, whether it be later on in life or early, that there's always a part of us that gets pointed back to Jesus. And so I want to give you that opportunity, that so that he can use every scar, every failure, and every lesson in your life for his glory. So if you've never surrendered to your story, to God's way, maybe you've drifted away, I want you to pray this with us right now.
Lord Jesus, I believe you are the author and the finisher of my faith. I believe you died and rose again to give me new life. Today, I give you my story, the good, the bad, and the broken. Write something beautiful with it. And in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And if you prayed that right there, welcome home. Your new chapter starts now.
Absolutely. We're all authors of our story, but God is the great inventor of it.
Yeah.
So again, a big thanks to all of our sponsors: Pretty Good Wood Turning, Sasquatch Gun Oil, Sabbath Coffee Roasters, and of course Faith Points TV, for supporting our mission, as well as the Intentionally Uncommon Initiatives Million Bible Initiative. That's a lot of initiatives,
Yeah.
but it's okay. Yeah. God's got a plan. And so Tim, again, thank you for coming on and believing in our mission, believing in this format of being able to get out there and really point Jesus to everybody.
Yeah. And if today's episode blessed you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out Tim Blake on Living Life Mindset on Faith Point Radio. And remember, duct tape fixes most things. Dad jokes fixes the rest.
But faith fixes everything. Yes.
We'll see you next time on the Foundational Fathers podcast.
Peace out.